well together.
Howdy YouTube, this is Kyle Fergusson from Into the Nexus podcast, and today I'm going to talk about countering Rexxar. Now I do a how to play Rexxar guide, but you already know if you want to play this guy. He's a big doof with a bear. If you're into that, you're probably already playing him. The majority of us out there need to know how to counter him, and I for one believe that we are barking up the wrong tree. And this data comes from Heroes Profile, and you can see a pretty impressive range of win rates, starting at 51% with Sky Temple. But what we're really concerned about are those point control maps where you're going to have a high likelihood of an enemy Rexxar. And that, of course, is your Braxis holdout and your Dragonshire. And we can see those chances right here. 52% of Rexxar on Braxis and 39% of Rexxar on Dragonshire. Everywhere else we don't have to be as concerned, but of course number one counter is going to be ban him. But we've got a lot of bans right now. We're banning Deathwing still, we're banning Zool, we're banning Lemings and Mephistos. We're worried about Samuro right now, who is just kind of running rampant. There's a good chance in your games that Rexxar is gonna get through. This is not to say those are the only good Rexxar maps. You might have a sweet strategy for holding temples on Sky Temple, or maybe you go Flare on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and you collect all the juicy gems for your team. But this is about the main places we're gonna see him: Braxis and Dragonshire. And before we go any further, let's talk about what Rexxar wants. Rexxar wants to hold the point with you unable to take it away from him. He wants to get XP while he's doing so. He wants to steal your orb, and he wants to drag another team member to his lane. So here we have our Rexxar and our Misha. Rexxar wants to stay safe, and Misha is doing all the collecting. In general, as those lanes come together, Rexxar is going to use whatever his level 1 talent pick may be, outside of Flare, to destroy the lane faster than you can. And while he's doing so, Misha is going to be zoning you out. She's going to be charging, stunning, and causing you to miss your orb. That's the early game. Tons of extra healing going into Rexxar via Misha through those globes. As the objective comes online, Rexxar wants to change that up a little bit. Rexxar himself is going to stay in lane and continue to get XP soak, while Misha goes and sits on the point. And a skilled Rexxar will make sure that this Misha is never standing still and constantly moving around and avoiding auto attack range for melees. Now this early game situation presents you with two different options really. One, that you are going to kill the bear. That you are going to somehow kill Misha through the sheer throughput of the hero you have drafted. You could also try to access Rexxar in that same way. Either way, you're trying to kill these two as fast as possible, or you're going to freeze the lane, meaning that Rexxar is going to have full run of this entire area with Misha, but with any luck, he will push too deep, he will get himself into trouble, and an ally will come gank him. This leaves your hero completely locked behind the wall, gathering XP orbs, and hopefully those regen orbs, because Rexxar is pushing you out too fast. You are playing extremely passively. And in this case, what's more likely to happen is Rexxar is going to start getting some siege damage in. Or, heaven forbid, you want to go do a camp as the bruiser on your team, and that leaves Rexxar getting a lot of siege damage in. This will cause an overreaction, and your team will rotate up to try to gank Rexxar. Since they are your team and they've been visible on the map, he usually gets out of there well before that happens. When Rexxar has two opponents, two players, in his lane, he is won. The map is now a 4v3, and Rexxar can also make the choice to just go freeze his lane. Once we're done with that initial phase and the objective is online, Rexxar puts Misha on the pad. And your main counterplay at this point is to be on the pad before Misha gets there. However, if that fight starts to go poorly for Misha or she can't get on the point, well, she's got this fabulous backup named Rexxar. We have slowly, through the patches, traded out Misha's power into Rexxar. But that means when he arrives at these battles, he is Zul'jin Light, he is Vala Light. He is doing pretty darn good auto attack damage. Freezing, sitting on the point before him is a very passive strategy. But our brains say a bruiser is countered by a bruiser. Rexxar, after all, is bringing quite a bit of health to a teamfight, as well as a good stun. Misha Charge can control a lot of characters, because it's able to position a light power slide freely. Now, as we talk about the individual bruisers, I don't want to discount anybody's sweet play. If you have a bruiser that you believe or you know can 1v1 a Rexxar, congratulations on your skills. That is way too much work when you can't be excused from the lane to do your other bruiser business. First on the list, Artanis. You may be able to land a sweet swap. You'll probably get stunned mid-swap, causing you to be very out of position into a now auto-attacking Rexxar. What are you gonna do when you complete that swap? You gonna put him in tower range? When in this lane versus Rexxar are you gonna go off and use your amateur opponent to get a Merc camp done all by yourself? Chen is probably king of the sit on the point before Misha gets there and survive long enough to do it. And if that's the case, if you're in a league where Rexxar rotates that slowly to get Misha onto the point, Chen can just sort of stick it out. He can kick towards Rexxar, but now we're countering Rexxar, a rare pick, with Chen, a rare pick. Deathwing might be able to pull this off. In this case, we're using the level 1 pick Dragon Soul to make our Incinerate heal for 75% of the damage it deals to enemy heroes. If you can, in Destroyer form, lunge forward and place yourself between Misha and Rexxar, well, that's 2 heroes being hit by this heal. But Rexxar wailing on the back end in that Vala Light style is going to be way too much for your Deathwing. You are going to lose your armor very quickly. And then you'll have to go into space. You'll have to fly into the air. And guess who now owns the lane, has control of the objective, pushes down your towers? Rexxar, who keeps on going. Dahaka can freeze. Dahaka gets some benefit from being pushed out, and that he's going to gather up that essence. Dahaka may be able to get himself on the point sooner than Misha. But your big trick to avoid damage when Rexxar comes and visits you is to go underground, is to disappear. Therefore, not be counted as being on the point, and therefore give it away to Misha, even if slowly. D.Va, I don't know, now we're dealing with a 2% pick rate. The chance that you're even gonna have a D.Va is low enough. D.Va might be able to farm up a bomb for future use. She can boop ever so slightly Misha off a point. What's Rexxar gonna care about the bomb? He'll just come back later. Imperius, my favorite giant killer in the game, can whittle down Misha, but again, just like our Deathwing situation, you're receiving so much auto attack damage from Rexxar himself that you're not going to keep up. Your self-healing isn't high enough. Leoric is a bit of an interesting one. You can bust the bear. You can attach some hands. Usually in most leagues, Misha isn't controlled to such a state that he's going to actively dodge the hands that you're putting out. Though Misha does run at considerable pace, Leoric also wants to be double soaking with Neil Peasants. That's kind of his big jam right now. Late game power, early game double soak. Malthael's kind of cute. Malthael can weather the storm, freeze the lane. He can be rather gankable, so we really want to be careful about that freezing the lane and make sure he's staying in safety. You might be able to dive back to Rexxar. Chances are not. He's going to dodge your Shroud. But come level 10, you can do some last rites business. You might be able to farm the bear for decreased cooldown. That's a cute idea. What did Rexxar accomplish between level 1 and level 10? Now you're gonna turn it all around? You might be able to, but that's a long road. Ragnaros Braxis will always have a good presence. You are playing a little bit to lose as you're taking a very defensive character, but healing is alright. You may be able to get a sweet meatball on the enemy Rexxar. Ragnaros is in a bit of an interesting place right now as his building form, his molten core, might actually be less dangerous than the normal forts themselves. I got mad respect for Sonya's. There's a lot of really good Sonya players out there. Your main heal is interruptible by a stun with Whirlwind. Sonya also really wants to go do other things on the map for the team, like camps. Thrall could do a full quest build. He might actually be able to finish Crash Lightning, though chances are always very low, particularly because Misha's going to be sitting on top of her lane minions, and that lightning tends to fart off a little bit. Varian. I've tried the Twin Blades. Being interrupted during Twin Blades by a stun is detrimental. You're not able to access Rexxar. Maybe there's a world where Colossal Smash can complete that kill, but we're working too hard, and we're pushing out way too far and exposing ourselves to those ganks. Zul, well, Zul is probably banned in the first place. This may be the rarest matchup in the game. Zul is banned out at a whopping 81%. He tries to participate in 94% of all games that are played. This will likely break even. Somewhere in the middle, with Skeletons and Misha both doing their work, these two heroes will not interact with each other well. You're gonna lose that point control, and that's what we're really talking about here. The maps where we're gonna see a Rexxar. Now, Yrel is kind of an interesting one. She has a knockback, she has a stun, she has a way to jump over terrain. She may be able to, in a very busy way, beat Rexxar in lane, or at the very least, outmaneuver him and get control of the point for a time. You're also going to have Dauntless for the early game, so standing on that point isn't going to be as difficult of a task. You can juggle between your abilities, heal yourself, knock Misha off. You may run out of mana, but you can, if you can get to the point before Misha, hold it, hopefully for long enough that the other 4 teammates can complete the objective. This is a particularly interesting one because we're only going to see Yrel played well in High League, and Misha, with her charge, is going to be interrupting Yrel's channels in High League, so we're butting heads here a little bit in skill. No one's getting to really run amok there. As someone who has performed this matchup many times, particularly on Dragonshire, it's going to look something like this, with a lot of Yrel noise as she goes, ha-ha, onto the point, and Misha runs around, and then Misha gets bopped off by your hammer. Bop! And then she runs around in a circle and heals herself a little bit, making sure Misha gets in there. And then Misha's going to run to the point, and you might be at like 75% of completing it here. So you're both going to run around, and you're going to smack him. And you might then incur Rexxar, who's going to come up and auto-attack. So you go, ha-ha, and jump over the wall. And now you start soaking, and you start clearing using your various abilities. And then when Rexxar comes back around, you might jump back over and hit Misha off with your hammer. And then back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's way too much work. Why are we working so hard? Now, we spent a lot of time just talking about who might be able to 1v1 or get on that point early and hold it for long enough that the team should be able to complete the objective. In a team-based game, there's also your allies. And Braxis makes this unique because the size of the walls. If you can change the time that you are rotating in, then you can complete the gank before Rexxar thinks you're going to be there. The majority of time, if you walk all the way around the edge, Rexxar is going to catch on with the missing person in the bottom, and they're going to back up. But if a hero has any sort of teleport or jump, they might be quite powerful, and Genji still has all of his old powers on Braxis with the boss and his ability to go over terrain, though of course he's lost some of his power as balance patches have come in. Still, a great option to catch a Rexxar out who has been pushing a frozen lane. I really like Medivh because he can fly all the way there safely, as well as get you involved in that frozen lane gank by helping you get out from behind your wall and actually kill the Rexxar himself. Zeratul very popular, maybe not a very popular pick on Braxis, but something we might see in a solo lane or even double soak situation. Allowing Zeratul to roam might be the problem in that case, but he can also complete these in a timely manner. Maiev also has a teleport with pretty good range on it, and she may be able to be in a place before Rexxar expects. Very popular right now, that Maiev. Sylvanas also has a teleport. Yes, it's her escape, but which one of these guys teleports and doesn't use their escape? She has the power to get down Rexxar rather quickly. Getting excused from the 4-stack is probably the big trouble here. Tracer just wants to be ganking all the time, so Tracer is pretty good at this. A good companion for a frozen lane. And we might honorable mention here Butcher. Butcher can farm meat off Misha if maybe Rexxar's playing very safe. The movement speed that Misha has returning to Rexxar is very oppressive in this way, but in a coordinated environment, you may be able to pull off a butcher as well. We need to break this old perception we have of matching a bruiser with a counter bruiser. We also have lost our specialist tag, and they are now ranged assassins. But Nazebo and Zagara, and even Gazlo as a melee assassin, aren't really bringing home any bacon against the Rexxar either. But they're that traditional solo lane part of our brains. Well, let's bring back some old traditions with someone like Illidan, who is doing really well in that matchup right now. Has a global to participate, has a lot of power versus things like Deathwing, able to take camps if there is no Rexxar. Illidan's having a bit of a resurgence. And Greymane in this new tower meta is absolutely everywhere. Let's let Greymane solo lane again versus that Rexxar. That is a really powerful place for him. Win rates are certainly showing that we need to embrace some of our melee assassins in a solo lane versus Rexxar. Like Kerrigan can absolutely access Rexxar himself, can kill the bear if need be, but rather just kill Rexxar. And Kira has it all. She's got the self-regen. She can swing around and face Rexxar directly or just straight up kill the bear. Her mana efficiency is amazing, and Rexxar will run out of mana if you're just trying to kill the bear over and over again. These are the sort of easy mode things we need to embrace, but we can make it even easier on ourselves. Why not let a hero who has no tradition of being in the solo lane get stacked on Misha and Rexxar? Sure, you could do this with Kel'Thuzad. You could chain them together. You could farm it up there in the lane. That's a tough sell in a solo league environment to your team. Also a tough sell, but so much easier to do, and perhaps the pinnacle of this strategy video. We need to be putting Zul'jin in that lane. That guy farms. It doesn't matter if he's pushed out. He may get kills, it doesn't matter. Zul'jin is going to farm his buns off versus that Rexxar. And it is so easy to do. Ridiculously easy to do. All you gotta do is right-click the bear who's safely out of range. And this is all about making it easy. We don't have to do Zul'jin just because he stacks. A Raynor or a Vala or a Lunara could also handle this job expertly. All we have to think about is how we're going to change our builds to access Rexxar, to make sure we have an impact because we are playing different. We don't need, in the case of someone like Lunara, Nature's Calling, because we're not in the 4-man. We're not about pushing, we're just holding a solo lane. Something like Siphoning Toxin might allow you to stay high health versus the Rexxar. An amazing pickup here is Blossom Swell. That increases the range of Noxious Blossom. And now you can actually hit that Rexxar, which means you can slow him, which means you can access him, and you get bonus movement speed to do so. You're playing efficiently. Work smarter, not harder, and good luck in your games out there. I was Kyle Fergusson. Be sure to subscribe on this channel for more Learn to Play Heroes of the Storm videos. Like the video as well, and don't forget to ring that bell on your way out. I'll see you next week.